war footing. On October 17th, 2001, I boarded Air Force One for my first trip out of the country since 9/11. We were headed to Shanghai for the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit, a gathering of 21 leaders from Pacific Rim nations. The Secret Service was anxious about the trip for weeks. We had received chilling intelligence reports about potential follow-up attacks, yet strengthening America's relationships in the Far East was one of my top priorities. I wanted my fellow world leaders to see firsthand my determination to battle the terrorist. As Air Force One touched down at the Shanghai airport, I thought back to the dusty, bicycle-filled city I had visited with mother in 1975. This time, we made the 45-minute drive to downtown Shanghai on a modern highway. We sped past a sparkling new section of the city called Pudong. Good old Pudong. I later learned the government had moved roughly 100,000 people off the land to enable the construction. 100,000 people for Pudong? The skyscrapers and the neon lights reminded me of Las Vegas. For Shanghai, the great leap forward had finally arrived. The next morning, I squeezed into a blue tent at the Ritz-Carlton with Colin Powell, Condi Rice, Andy Card, and the CIA briefer. What? Who's the CIA briefer? Andy Card, Condi Rice, and the CIA briefer. Who do you think the CIA briefer is? You think it's Jesse the Body Ventura? It's probably Snowden. I bet you it is, that crafty son of a bitch. He's probably CIA the whole time. The structure was designed to protect the national security briefing from potential eavesdroppers. Remember before the NSA was before? Remember when we didn't have a government spying on all of us? Remember when we were a free country? Remember when we listened to the preamble and aspired to our ideals of justice and domestic tranquility, common defense, and protecting our civil liberties to form a more perfect union? We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union for the common defense, for domestic tranquility, for the general welfare, to establish justice, to secure the blessings of liberty. Isn't that the point of the U.S. government? Isn't that the point of America? I think it's what the U.S. the preamble, the U.S. Constitution, and Colorado too. The structure was designed to protect the national security briefing from potential eavesdroppers. We turned on a video monitor and Dick Cheney's face popped up from New York City. He was wearing white tie and tails for his speech at the Alfred E. Smith Memorial Foundation dinner, an annual charity event organized by the Catholic Archdiocese. The Catholic Archdiocese. As soon as I saw Dick Cheney, I could tell something was wrong. His face was white as his tie. White as a ghost, like Casper. Mr. President, he said, one of the biodetectors went off at the White House. They found traces of botulinum toxin. Botulinum toxin. The chances are we've all been exposed. What? Vinyl chloride? Why haven't we moved East Palestine? Why haven't we moved all that? What is there, 100 fucking residents? Just move them over fucking 30 fucking miles. Buy some cheap ass land and move them 30 fucking miles. It's like, they're in a disaster zone. They'll make it. Mr. President, he said, one of the biodetectors, botulinum toxin, ivermectin. The CIA had briefed me on botulinum toxin. It was one of the world's most poisonous substances. Nobody said a word. Is it more poisonous than goddamn angel's breath? More motherfucking poisonous than crocodile? What's the deal, crocodile? I don't know, alligator. I don't know. Alligator. I don't know. Nobody said a word. Finally, Colin Powell. Always the card. Always the card. Always the comedy relief. What's the time of the exposure? Was he doing the mental math, trying to figure out how long it had been since he had been last in the White House? Deputy National Security Advisor Steve Hadley explained that the FBI was testing the suspicious substance on mice. The next 24 hours would be crucial. If the mice were still scurrying around, feet down, we'd be fine. But if the mice were on their backs, feet up, we were goners. Condi tried to lighten the mood. Well, she said, this is one way to die for your country. Come on now. Colin Powell's supposed to be the, what's the time of the exposure? You can't, that kind of comedic timing. I went to the summit meetings and awaited the test results. What's the time of exposure? Well, this is one way to die for your country. Settle down, Condi Rice. Condi Rice, settle down. The next day, Condi Rice got a message that Steve was trying to reach her. I guess this is the call, she said. After a few minutes, Condi Rice came back with the news. Feet down, not feet up, she said. It was a false alarm. Oh, so it's not like that vinyl chloride shit. Years later, incidents like the botulinum toxin scare can seem fanciful and far-fetched. It's easy to chuckle at the image of America's most senior officials praying for lab mice to stay upright, like the rats of Nim. Splinter was a rat. The rats of Nim, they saved Jonathan Brisby. But at the time, the threats were urgent and real. 6 mornings a week, George Tenet and the CIA briefed me on what they called the threat matrix, a summary of the potential attacks on the homeland. On Sundays, I received a written intelligence briefing between 9/11 and mid-2003. The CIA reported to me on an average of 400 specific threats each month. 400 specific threats. The CIA tracked more than 20 separate alleged large-scale attack plots ranging from possible chemical and biological weapons operations in Europe to potential homeland attacks, including involved sleeper operatives. Some reports mentioned specific targets, including major landmarks, military bases, universities, shopping malls. For months after 9/11, I would wake up in the middle of the night worried about what I had read. I peppered my briefers with questions. How credible was each threat? What had we done to follow up on a lead? Each piece of information was like a tile in a mosaic. In late September, FBI Director Bob Mueller inserted a big tile when he told me that there were 331 potential Al-Qaeda operatives inside the United States. 331? Have we got them? Have we arrested them? The overall image was unmistakable. Um, 9/11, USS Cole, World Trade Center, 1993, East Africa, Osama bin Laden, fatwa, 9/11, declared war. The world be different than any that America had fought. We had to uncover the terrorist plots. We had to track their movements and disrupt their operations. We had to cut off their money and deprive them of their safe havens. And we had to do it all under the threat of another attack. The terrorists had made our home front a battleground. Putting America on a war footing was one of the most important decisions of my presidency. My authority to conduct the war on terror came from 2 sources. One was Article 2 of the Constitution, which entrusts the president with wartime powers as commander-in-chief. The other was a congressional war resolution passed 3 days after 9/11 by a vote of 98-0 in the Senate and 420-1 in the House. Congress declared the war on terror, that the president is authorized to use all necessary and appropriate force. Don't we have the necessary and proper clause? Yeah, I wonder. Universal basic income, ranked choice voting, goddamn constitutional conventions. Is that necessary and proper? Is that good for the general welfare? Is that good for the domestic tranquility? You're goddamn right it is. To have an election system that's fucking fair. To have a capitalist, if we had UBI, then capitalism would go on for fucking ever. So UBI saves the poor, and it saves the capitalist, imperialist, neoliberal fucking system. But they're such fucking assholes. They're such selfish greedheads. They hate the idea of helping anybody, so they'll tank the whole fucking economy. But we have to help somebody, but the whole economy could get tanked. I know, but I just don't want to help somebody. I refuse it. That's not American. Helping people, that's not American. All necessary and appropriate force against those nations, organizations, or persons he determines planned, that's sexist, authorized, committed, or aided the terrorist attacks. Like a woman can't be president, an elderly woman named Marianne Williamson that occurred on September 11th, 2001. When's Joe Biden going to run? He isn't even running for fucking president. That motherfucker isn't even going to run for fucking president. And people are like, I ain't going to. Marianne's the only one in it. She's the only one in it. She's already winning. She's already winning. She is number one. Marianne Williamson is winning. She's the front runner. She's the one to beat. Stop X movement, Nixon said, bet on X. Aided the terrorist attacks that occurred on September 11th, 2001. Did we ever figure out there was an Egyptian? How many people attacked 9/11? You had the Egyptian, and you had like some Lebanese. You had an Egyptian, a Lebanese, and mostly Saudi Arabians, though, right? So goddamn Saudi Arabia. What's Saudi Arabia up to? Oh, a bunch of fucking bullshit. That motherfucker, fascist motherfucking piece of shit over there. No wonder Putin and him is fucking best fucking friends. Harbored such organizations or persons in order to prevent any future acts of international terrorism against the United States by such nations, organizations, or persons. So basically Bin Laden, right? We need to go get Bin Laden's people. Didn't the CIA create Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan? Like, Al-Qaeda is known as, like, that, they're literally known as the group, right? The group, the people, In the years ahead, some in Congress would forget those words. I never did. I woke up every morning thinking about the danger we faced and the responsibilities I carried. I was also keenly aware that presidents had a history of overreaching during war. John Adams signed the Alien and Sedition Acts, which banned public dissent. Abraham Lincoln suspended habeas corpus during the Civil War. Franklin Roosevelt ordered Japanese Americans interned during World War II. And when I took the oath of office, I swore to protect, preserve, protect, defend the Constitution. My solemn duty, the calling of my presidency, was to protect America within the authority granted to me by the Constitution. By the Constitution. And then he goes on about fucking Tom Ridge and INS, Homeland Security, motherfucking Marwan al-Shihai. 2 pilots flown airplanes into the Twin Towers on Island. I was shocked too, as the press at the time. I could barely get my coffee down. The sloppy era exemplified the need for broader reform. Joe Lieberman of Connecticut had been making the strong case about Homeland Security. Good old Joe Lieberman. Good old Joe Lieberman. The dawn of the Cold War in 1947. President Harry Truman. God, I hate Joe's fucking face. Joe Lieberman's fucking face. What a fucking dickhead. 1947, Harry Truman consolidated the War Department and Navy into the new Department of Defense. I didn't know that. So we don't have a Navy. The Department of Defense is the fucking Navy. And it's the War Department. Oh, it's not a War Department anymore. Now it's a Department of Defense. Where's the Peace Department? We don't have that. Well, isn't that what defense is? Always be on guard. Yeah, that would be for peace, right? An actual Department of Defense. A Peace Department would be an actual Department. We also need an Economic Bill of Rights and a Natural Bill of Rights. And just an update, Colorado, we need to consolidate America, and Colorado's Bill of Rights had decided the reorganization was worth the risk. In June 2002, it addressed the nation from the White House to call on Congress to create a new department, Homeland Security. Tom Ridge. You cannot stop us. We got anthrax. What the hell? One of the letters containing anthrax, that's what it said. I was struck by a sickening, was this the second wave of biological attack? October 2nd, 2001, a tabloid photo editor. named Bob Stevens was admitted to a Florida hospital with a high fever and vomiting. When doctors examined him, they discovered he had inhaled a lethal bacteria. Anthrax is bacteria. Anthrax? Motherfucking SARS? Goddamn, we gotta worry about everything. We gotta worry about every goddamn motherfucking thing. All the goddamn time. Tom Daschle. You know what? I can't. That's when I gotta put this book down. You might get mad at Bush, but you know the damn Democrats fucking voted for the goddamn Iraq War, motherfucking Hillary Clinton, Tom Daschle. Oh yeah, go kill a bunch of 1 million innocent people in a fucking just because we're an American empire. You know, they love this country. The rest of the world let us fucking bomb the fuck out of Iraq because they love us so fucking much. We wasted not just the love and respect from 9/11, but from the fucking Civil War and the fucking Revolution and the goddamn World War II. We wasted it all. I feel like some of the world is resentful of the American empire, and our empire is a pointed empire, so it's not like your old traditional empires. And I believe there's some reforms that need to be made. I think us defending Ukraine makes up for our war in Iraq. That's our penance. That's our act of contrition. We have to defend our neighbors. We have to stand up for our neighbors. We got to stand up for it. We are our brother's keeper, are we not? For as long as we can. Putin said he fucking invaded Ukraine because of what the fuck Bush did. We're still in Iraq. So let's go ahead and not give a total fucking pass to the whole fucking thing. I'll always be traumatized by this fucking bullshit. All y'all just want to go exterminate an entire fucking nation of people because the fucking president wants to? Because 9/11 just happened and you're scared? People like us because we're fucking Woodstock. We're goddamn peace, love, freedom. People love our fucking Jimi Hendrix, our goddamn music. They love our fucking culture. Our movies, our TV shows, our styles, our clothing. We haven't fucking blown it yet. So, you've gone through the fucking jungle. You don't need to do it again. Polk took half the damn country. I think we should put it to a referendum. Maybe Iraq should be an American state. Why should we not adopt Iraq as a 51st state? How come we only have 50 states? How come we haven't offered a referendum to Bolivia and Peru and Argentina? Wouldn't that be fucking brilliant? Let's just see if the people of the world like us. Do a referendum. Do you want to be Americans? Would you want us to? Do you want our interstate systems to be connected to Bolivia? Or not? Maybe they fucking hate us that fucking much, and if they do, then we should mind our fucking business, create a world organization that, you know, gives us some influence. And, you know, the UN, I think we need to do like an inverted UN, where Cuba and Palestine and Yemen and Bolivia and Siberia are the Security Council members. Turn our military bases into embassies. We got a pointed empire. And the Civil War says if they attack one of our forts, then we get to defend our forts. We got 900 military bases. To form a more perfect union, we got 14 colonies. Let's bring them in. We got 900 military bases. John McCain was born on a military base. Are you going to say he's a Panamanian? He's actually a Panamanian. He's not an American. He's a Panamanian. How'd that damn Panamanian get into the Senate? People going to fucking give Obama goddamn shit. John McCain was a motherfucking Panamanian. Panamanian. I'll always be fucking traumatized by that shit. Oh, 9/11 happened, so we could use all the power and force of the U.S. Army to go do what? Give Iraq Woodstock forever? Give them the 3 branches of government and give them a Bill of Rights? Just make them a Republic of the United States. It was for democracy, right? That was the idea. So make sure they got ranked choice voting. Make sure they got ranked choice voting. They got the best goddamn democracy out there. And UBI. If they had UBI, then they'd be doing capitalism better than we are. And constitutional conventions. I'm pulling for Iraq. I hope that they do great things. I can't believe that the world let us fucking do that shit. But that's how much the world fucking loves us. And so, okay, big fucking blunder. But like Vietnam, like World War II, Civil War, Revolutionary War, this shit, world events, shit changes quick. We gotta make sure we're on the right fucking side. Or we're gonna be in Vietnam for 50 years thinking about genociding everybody because that's how you fucking win. That isn't how you win, you motherfucker. You doing to others the way you'd want to be done unto you. It's the golden rule.